Hello, and welcome to another episode of a show that I personally call Popcorn King, episode 8, I presume. It's been a little while. I've been a little bit under the weather. I'm on antibiotics. The voice is feeling a bit run down. So please, if I cough, I know I cough in every episode, but if I carry on coughing, please just forgive me. I'm a little bit sick. It is what it is. I've seen a bunch of movies over the past 2 weeks. Too many movies to put into this episode, so I'm actually going to split it up over 2 episodes. I'll put another episode out on Monday. So there's a couple of different things we're going to run through, a few different movies. So I'm going to start off with, of course, how can I not start off with Captain America, A Brave New World. Is it A Brave New World or just Brave New World? Probably just Brave New World. So this is the new Anthony Mackie film, starring Anthony Mackie, also starring Harrison Ford, Danny Ramirez, and a bunch of other actors that you might recognize or may not. So obviously this is the new movie in the Marvel sort of canon, the new Marvel film. The last one we had was Deadpool and Wolverine. I rather enjoyed that. I thought it was very, very funny, exciting, exhilarating, fun to have this. We're kind of in this new era of Marvel, right, where we had that whole sort of multiverse stuff, and that does still need to come to an end. But we've got Bob Iger back, right, to sort of ground everything and make everything good again, because it kind of went off the rails a little bit there with some Marvel. But Captain America: Brave New World had a lot of reshoots, and I dread to think what this film was before the reshoots, because currently, like, the film that has been reshot is not amazing. It's kind of boring. It's kind of pointless. Kind of just feels like a sequel to the Incredible Hulk film with Ed Norton, which is ridiculous. That seems insane. Kind of just feels like it's tying up some loose ends. It doesn't feel like a film in and of itself, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, I legitimately did sort of doze off a couple of times watching this film. I'm sorry to say. So I might not have even understood some parts that were happening, but I was just like, oh, it's just sort of smashy, smashy, runny, runny, flying around, smashy, smashy. With a Captain America film, you're thinking sort of political espionage, exciting. Like Winter Soldier, that was an incredible film. Civil War, wonderful. But yeah, this one with Anthony Mackie stepping up to be the new Captain America, not the new Steve Rogers, obviously, but the new Captain America, Sam Wilson, his character, the Falcon. I was just like, I don't know if I'm interested in this at all. I don't even know if Marvel are that interested in this. I feel like I barely saw any advertisements for this. I didn't feel any kind of sense of like excitement to release this film. It just felt, yeah, it felt boring. It felt pointless. I'm sorry, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe was so incredible because everything was so exciting. Everything felt like it was in this universe. We're introducing a new character, and everything was leading to this point. I felt this momentum leading towards Endgame, really. And it was so exhilarating and so exciting every time, like when you got to see the Guardians of the Galaxy meeting Tony Stark and Doctor Strange meeting Spider-Man, and just so many different things were going on, and it was just unbelievably exhilarating, unbelievably exciting. This film is unbelievably boring. And I didn't even stay for the end credit scene. I have to say, like, I'm sorry, there were some parts of this film which were a little bit interesting, but I because I started nitpicking at like the shield, for example, Captain America's shield, made of, what is it, vibranium? I was nitpicking at the physics of that because I was bored. And I have to say, like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever that Sam Wilson, a human being, can hold the shield up and absorb a punch from the Hulk. Like, it really doesn't make any sense at all. Like, it will still be his, like, bone and arm that'll be having to take the momentum of that punch, you know? His bones would shatter and break. It really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, I would understand if you, like, put the shield on the floor and then hid behind it, like, without touching the shield. Yes, the shield is strong enough to protect you. But if you have to hold it up yourself using your own shoulder muscles and arm muscles and hold it up in front of you like that, and then the Hulk punches it, and your arm is going to take just as much of the brunt of that punch as the actual shield. Like, his arm would be off his body. His arm would be away from his being. It would just go. It would be like, there's no way he can fight the Hulk. It's so silly. And then there's this villain, like the brain villain. What the hell is the name of that villain? It was a really dumb villain. He's supposed to be like this super clever villain, and he was, quite frankly, an idiot. Honestly, I can't even find the name of that villain. Just embarrassingly childish. It looked like I was watching like the Power Rangers when I was a kid, like the brains and stuff. I was like, this is just kind of silly and not even clever. Like, a lot of his plan hinged on unclever things, like just tormenting Harrison Ford until he turned into the Hulk. Like, his plan really hinged on him just going, you know what you are, like, and hinging, like, there was no like cleverness behind it. It was really silly. And then there's that little what's her name, Ruth, I believe, the young sort of bodyguard. She has no superpowers whatsoever. In this film, you've got the Hulk, you've got people with falcon wings that are flying around, you've got super soldiers with serum in their veins that are extra strong and stuff, and she's just holding her own against everyone because she trained under the Black Widow. And I'm like, that's not enough. Like, it should not be enough that a normal person can just go, because then what's the point of having superheroes, right? So yeah, just wildly disappointed. And I know I'm nitpicking at things there, but it's because I was bored with the story that my brain started to nitpick. It's because I was bored with the story that I started to fall asleep and just think of other things. It was just wildly disappointingly boring, in my opinion. But I would love to know what you thought of it. Did you think it was boring? Did you fall asleep? Were you like, doesn't make any sense anymore? Are you I kind of just want to skip until we get to like Fantastic Four. I want to see Fantastic Four, and then like the birth of like a new sort of Marvel cinematic storyline. That's what I want, because this is just like nothing really. It's just cardboard in your mouth. That's what it is. Anyway, the next film I'm going to do a review of was Bridget Jones's Diary, Mad About the Boy. This is the new Renée Zellweger film, starring Renée Zellweger. Also starring Chiwetel Ejiofor, Leo Woodall. Yep. I'm just going to quickly read the synopsis on IMDb. Bridget Jones navigates life as a widow, which means the Colin Firth character has died, and single mum with the help of her family, friends, and former lover, Daniel. That's Hugh Grant. Back to work and on the apps, she's pursued by a younger man, and what else does it say? And maybe, just maybe, her son's science teacher. Wow, that synopsis gives away quite a lot. Sorry about that. Spoiler alert. What did I think of this film? Really great. Really funny. Oddly sad. Like, it starts off at what seems like it could just be a bunch of sketches almost, but slowly morphs into a film poignantly talking about grief and dealing with grief. And yeah, it hit me. Like, I've missed these British comedies. They're great. I just think this film was perfectly sort of what it was. it is a Bridget Jones' Diary film, which means it isn't, an Oscar-worthy film. Like, the acting's a little bit weird sometimes, and the script's a little bit strange, and it feels a little bit forced sometimes. But in the end, there's this sort of the British tone about it, which just kind of makes you feel warm inside a little bit, and makes you just sort of root for these characters. And yeah, like, it was just once you got into it, once you got past the sort of like, that sketch feels a little bit forced, that moment feels a bit oddly over the top acting, people jumping around on the beds and dancing, like, it doesn't feel real. Once you sort of get over that, and you kind of get sucked into that vibe, and then you find yourself laughing, you find yourself crying, you find yourself just really absorbed in the film, really absorbed. I just thought it was really great. It was excellent. I really enjoyed it. By the end of it, I was like, I could watch this forever. I could be in this world forever. What a great world, the Bridget Jones world. I have to say, Renée Zellweger's English accent is top notch. Sometimes American actors fall a little short on the English accent, but Denzel Washington, look up his English accent. Awful. But Renée Zellweger's English accent is undeniably perfect. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell. You would just think she's English, honestly. She's just great at that accent. She's so good at it. And then Hugh Grant is so charming, so funny, so crass, such an unbelievably inappropriate character. Like, there's a bit where he's just teaching these kids how to make a dirty bitch, which is a drink that he's made up, and it's just realistic. It's just funny, and like, so what his character would do. And it's strange how he became this. He started off as this like romantic lead that everybody is in total love with, and I'm talking about in the Bridget Jones Diary universe. Then he turns into this absolute dickhead that everybody hates, and now he's just this charming sort of friend that you're so happy has stuck around. I know that his character technically died in one of the films, then came back alive. To be honest with you, I don't really remember, and it really doesn't matter. Like, if you want to watch this film and you can't remember or haven't even seen the other films, I think it works. Like, I only remember the first Bridget Jones, if I'm honest with you. And him having died in the past or come back alive, it makes no difference whatsoever. It's not even addressed in this film, I don't think. So I just think... I think it's great. There's a moment, and this might be a spoiler. If you don't want to hear any spoilers whatsoever, I guess, then just go away. You're not wanted here. But there's just this moment where there's flashbacks of Colin Firth singing "I'd Do Anything" from Oliver to his kids in bed when they're in bed, and he just sings, "I'd do anything for you, dear." Anything, and it's really cute, just lovely to watch a father sort of son moment. And then obviously that's like a flashback, and we know he's died, and the kids are having to deal with the grief in their own way, and the mum is having to deal with it in her own way, and it all leads to this point where they go on like a school trip, and it's the mum and this science teacher who's very like, death is the end, there is no heaven, and they're sitting around a fire pit in the middle of this school trip, in the middle of this field. And Bridget Jones goes to look after some of the other school kids, and the son is there. And he's like, he misses his dad. He loves his dad. He misses his dad. And this science teacher hasn't been very comforting up to this moment. And he's just like, well, there is no heaven. That's a fairy tale. Which I agree with. I don't believe in heaven necessarily. But he says something so poignant here. And he says, energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be converted. So, your dad, he says to the kid, is made up of energy. Everything about him is energy, like his personality, his laugh, his body, everything is energy. And even though his body stopped working and his brain shut down and he's dead now, the energy that made him was not destroyed. It was transferred, and it is everywhere. It is in everything, especially in the little kid. Like, he is around in some sense. He's not disappeared. In some sense, he's around. And oh my God, I relate to that so much. I really get that sense. I've lost both my parents, and grief is an interesting thing to deal with. And that's a beautiful way to look at it, because it's scientifically true. Like, they are still around. They're everywhere, really. They're in this room right now, and the energy that was within them is within me, and that's amazing to think about, and that's a really beautiful moment. And I was like, just on the verge of tears there, but I wasn't quite. I was like, okay, I'm holding it together. And he goes, let's, tell me your favorite memory of your dad. And then the film sort of cuts away, and I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I was going to die. I was about to cry. I was like, if he starts talking about his favorite memory, I'm going to cry. And anyway, the film sort of moves on, and they're at this talent contest, and Bridget Jones is there. But Bridget Jones and us as the audience are not expecting the son to do anything at this talent contest other than like sing in the choir, I think. But he comes on at the end to sing a solo, and the science teacher is playing piano, and he's like, this is a special sort of last minute addition. And Bridget Jones is like, what's he going to do? And he starts singing, I'd do anything for you. That song from Oliver Twist, for some reason. That song that he, we remembered Colin Firth singing that to him as a kid. And then we think back to that campfire scene, and we're like, oh, that must have been the memory that he told him. Like, of all the memories of his dad, it's this like beautiful, like, I feel like I'm going to cry right now. It's just this just one-on-one tiny little moment. It's not like this big, beautiful gesture of like, of love or some incredible big memory that you could never possibly forget. It's a real intimate, personal, look, I'm almost tearing up. Those moments mean so much to people, right? And it's so lovely just saying goodnight to your kid in your own sort of special way. Like, honestly, like, those are sort of the things that I remember when I think of my mum and my dad. It's so silly that I'm like tearing up, but it's never the big things. It's just these tiny little cute things. And that film just had me like, oh God, I'm crying. I was literally like, the tears just were like pouring down my face. And I was like, this is insane. And Bridget Jones's Diary movie, just like tears coming down my face. So just wonderful. It hit me. I'm not sure this is the sort of film that's going to hit everybody, but it just hit me in the heart. And I need to shake that off, because it's so, films that deal with grief in these sort of ways, in like happy ways as well. That's even more tragic. It's even more sad, right? It's not characters crying and wailing. It's films that deal with it in sort of nice ways, and it hits me even harder. So, wonderful film. I totally recommend it. And strange to cry on camera, but that's just, it is what it is. But yeah, like, that's what we do here on Popcorn King. We're honest, all right? We delve deep in emotions, and that's what great art does. And you might just think of Bridget Jones's Diary as a silly rom-com British silly thing, just silly. Like, it wasn't even released in the cinemas in America, so it's just a silly thing. And yet it can hit you so hard. And it is what it is. So I recommend that film massively. So moving on to the next film that I've watched. This film didn't make me cry. This film is The Monkey. So The Monkey is the new... Who the hell is in this film? Theo James film, starring Theo James. It's a Stephen King adaptation. So I'm going to read the description. When twin brothers Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey toy in the attic, a series of gruesome deaths start. The siblings decide to throw the toy away and move on with their lives, growing apart over the years. So it's a terrifying fucking monkey, and every time it's got this drum, and every time it hits a drum, someone dies. And it might do it loads of times, it might just do it once, but someone's going to die a horrifically disgusting death. What did I think of this film? It is scary. It's also so funny. Like, it's a silly goose time. It's just silly. The blood and guts in it are the scariest thing is the monkey's fucking face. Just these big eyes and this big smile, and it's terrifying. But it's just a toy. When it actually comes to like the blood and the deaths and the gross out sort of stuff, that's funny. That stuff's actually hilarious. So it's a real odd sort of, juxtaposition. Like the funny thing is the scary stuff, and the scary thing is the children's toy. Like, that's just a great way to make a film. These types of horror films that are over the top blood and guts. It's like custard. I think I've heard someone call it like custard pie blood and guts custard pies. It's just almost like clownishly funny, like when the intestines get ripped out of this person's body and it just comes out and out and out and out and out, and they're just standing there and then they just fall down dead. Like, it's just silly. Like, it's just almost cartoonish, and it adds to a specific vibe that this horror film has. It kind of a little bit reminds me of Final Destination, where, once that monkey hits that drum, whoever it's chosen, they cannot escape death. Somehow, some way, the universe will kill this person, whether it's just like just these odd random accidents that aren't random and aren't accidents, but that's how they seem. It's just like anything can kill you, and that's Final Destination. It's the monkey. Great film. Really nice to see a Stephen King sort of short story. I haven't read too much Stephen King, but this is one of the few like short stories that I have read. And I know in the short story he's got like tambourines, but I guess for copyright purposes they did it as a drum. I don't really know why, actually, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, just a really, really great film. And that monkey was terrifying. And you know me, I like a good horror film, and we're off to a good year with horror. I didn't mind. I thought Wolfman was all right. Companion, really, really good. Monkey, really, really good. Like, these are fun, interesting ideas, and I actually think that this actor's really good. I'm currently watching the second season of White Lotus, and Theo James is in that as well, and he's just a great actor. I don't know, there's something about him. Maybe I don't quite buy him as the bullied geek in the corner with egg on his face, because he's so sort of broad and quite muscly and very, very handsome, and his voice just is a confident voice. So maybe I don't quite buy him as this guy who's been bullied his whole life. He looks like he's been in the gym. That's what it looks like. But he's a good enough actor for me to enjoy it anyway. The parts when they were I actually liked the bits when they were kids more. Like, it was just silly. It was just these silly jokes, like the group of girls who are bullies just come walking into the hall with a bunch of bananas, and then the next shot is our protagonist arriving home with banana juice all over him. Just silly, like this group of bully girls going, "Hey, you can't be wearing the trousers in this relationship." And then the next shot of him arriving home with no trousers on. Like, this is a comedy. This is actual funny stuff. And then we'll just have these long close-up shots of this terrifying fucking monkey. And I'm just like, this is great. Like, why is the scary thing this toy and everything else is kind of funny? I really recommend this film, honestly. Tell me what you thought about it. Did it make you laugh? Did it make you scream? Did it make you cry? I don't know why it would make you cry. Maybe it would have made you cry. But it's not. It wouldn't make me cry because it's not Bridget Jones' Diary. Anyway, let's move on to the next film I saw, which was another horror film, Heart Eyes. So, Heart Eyes is the brand new... I have no idea who's in this film. Mason Gooding, Olivia Holt movie, starring Mason Gooding and Olivia Holt. So this film is another horror film. It's a Valentine's film as well, technically. And the synopsis goes like this. For the past several years, the Heart Eyes killer has wreaked havoc on Valentine's Day by stalking and murdering romantic couples. this Valentine's Day, no couple is safe. So the conceit of this story, the sort of joke, there's one joke, there's ongoing joke throughout this film, which I personally found so funny, is this serial killer gruesomely kills couples who are in love because I guess he's just sick of seeing people in love. It's disgusting. So on Valentine's Day, he goes and gruesomely stalks and kills people in love. And our protagonists are these two colleagues that meet that aren't in love. And they meet for like a work meeting, and it could be romantic, but it's not romantic, and they kind of don't like each other. And so they cut the dinner short, and they go, yeah, let's just talk about this at work tomorrow or whatever. And as they leave, the girl in this duo sees her ex, and to make her ex jealous, just kisses her work colleague, who they've just sort of had an argument and they don't really like each other. And I guess the hard times killer is just sort of watching out for people he could kill, sees this kiss happen and decides it's them. And even though they're not a couple. And throughout the whole film, as they're getting chased, as they're almost getting stabbed with knives, like every time the heart killer jumps out to kill them, the whole time they're like, we're not a couple, please stop trying to kill us. We don't even I don't even know this person's name. Like, it's just silly, and it's this ongoing joke that's just like, this is an insane joke to have in this film, because there is something inherently funny about these slasher films, and it's because there's been so many slasher films, probably starting with like Halloween, where the genre has a very like sort of specific, I guess, structure, and it's like, okay, well, to make sure audiences aren't bored, we're going to keep trying to change this structure and turn it on its head. And that's what Scream did so well. And now it's like every single slasher film has to in some way be completely and utterly unpredictable. And because every single slasher film is so unpredictable, they're like predictably unpredictable, if you know what I mean. Like, it's gone around the full circle to, it's like so unpredictable that now I can kind of predict it by just thinking, well, what's the most unpredictable thing that's going to happen here? And so it's like the bit where they find out who the killer is, it's like, it was me! And he's like, me. And they're like, who are you? We don't even know who you are. And he's like, I'm just the guy. And he was like, it's like, yeah, I kind of guessed that, because you've got to predict the least predictable person in these films, and that's who it is. So, I guess the next couple of slasher films, the most predictable person will have to be the slasher, because that'll be the least predictable outcome. That's what I kind of think is going to happen. I thought this film was good. I thought it was funny, silly, again, sort of custard pie, blood and guts custard pies. Just silly kind of gruesomeness that, does it work on every level, this sort of gruesomeness? Not necessarily, but it's fun to watch. It's just a funny, silly kind of movie. It's just silly. It's a silly film. And yeah, it kept my attention. It kept my attention way more than Captain America did. So that's just you take that. I didn't fall asleep. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, moving on. My last review is something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be doing a review of the most recent season. Now, don't judge me, but I'm going to be doing a review of the most recent season of Love Island All Stars. So it's one of my guilty pleasures, Love Island All Stars. I kind of see it as meditation, because it's such crap TV that you can kind of just empty your mind when you watch it. You can kind of just sit there and forget about your bills, forget about rent, forget about the awful weather in England, forget about Trump, forget about everything that's going on, basically. You can just sort of empty your mind and like a monk in sort of deep meditation, just really think about absolutely nothing. Like, how difficult is it to think about nothing? It's really, really hard. Like, you have to train many, many years in meditation to be able to do that, sort of empty your mind. I just watched Love Island. That's my trick. Watch Love Island All Stars, because it's just sort of nonsense bullshit that means absolutely nothing. And for some reason, my eyes can look at the screen. I can somehow stop thinking, and I absorb it all. And the drama in it is enough for me to like think about it later on when I've come back to my senses. And yeah, I've got a couple of things to say. So Ekin-Su and Curtis, I think they came third. They were great. They're a really fun couple to watch throughout the whole series. I will say Ekin-Su is a telenovela. She's a telenovela, guys. She feels like she's trying to put on a show that the audience at home would like. There's that one scene that I don't think I'll ever forget it, where they're having this argument, and it's like, how, like, you said we were closed off, and then you've gone and like chosen this girl, and you're gonna couple up with this girl, and you said we were closed off. This huge argument back and forth. She even like threw a drink at him at one point, and they're having this argument. And then she goes, I just want to speak to my mum. And he goes, yeah, me too. I cut my mum off at one point. And she looks at him and kisses him. And she thought it was giving... You get the sense that she thought it was giving this, oh, Curtis, even though we're arguing, we're still perfect for each other. She thought it was giving this kind of dramatic moment. But it wasn't. It just gave random fucking, what the fuck was that? That everybody in the UK just went, what? Why did they just start kissing? Where did that come from? She thought it was giving, oh, look at us. We both love our mum. We're perfect for each other. As if that's the requirement, right? That you love your mum. Insane, crazy. She is such a... she's such a... When she was with Davide, it really gave spice because he gave it back. Like, when she shouted, he shouted. When he shouted, she shouted. And he was, you're a fucking actress. Get the fuck out. He was just great. But Curtis wants to keep the peace. And he's just very much like, let's talk about this now. Let's just really get this sorted. And he's just, he's not giving back the energy that she needs for her personality to shine. So her personality didn't shine very much until it got to the point where she had to defend Curtis with Elma. And the real Ekin-Su was allowed to be set free, and Elma had to sort of argue with her. And it was just this, like, that's the real Ekin-Su. She needs this, like, sort of combat sort of partner in crime. She needs to be able to fight someone. And that was really great to watch. So yeah, Ekin-Su, weird thing. Grace and Luca, I think they came second. An odd couple, honestly, I have to say. Really does feel like Luca is terrified of her and is so scared of upsetting her. And, she's a very, very beautiful woman. She's a very strong woman. So she's very much like... I loved the argument that she had with him, where it's like, do you want me to hold your hand while you go like cut things off with this other girl? Do you want me to like walk over there with you and hold your hand? Like, that was great. She really stood up for herself. But yeah, I'm not sure about them as a couple. Like, I feel a little bit like maybe that's not the man for Grace. I feel like Grace, as much as she, I guess, likes probably having a guy that she can basically control, I think in the end, she needs a guy who can give it back a little bit as well. Because equality is an important thing in a relationship. You don't want to have a partner that just cowers and does everything you say. Like, it might seem nice, but in the end, you kind of want that... You want someone who you can look up to as well as they look up to you. You need like mutual respect there. So yeah, I don't know about them. The winners, Gabby and Casey, boring. I honestly thought kind of boring, like plain sailing, and that's fine. I guess, why not? Like, why not they win? Because they were just sort of this plain sailing, relatively boring. For some reason, Gabby was trying to make it out that Grace was their giant sort of obstacle to overcome, but the series never gave that at all. But she kept saying, like, yeah, obviously our big sort of our big test was Grace, but it was like, well, I was at home, we didn't see any test whatsoever. That was nothing, in my opinion. But in the end, I have to say, the couple that should have been in the final, but were voted out in the semi-final, was Ronnie and Ronnie's couple. What the hell was her name? Why have I forgotten her name? Anyway, it's really about the redemption of Ronnie, because he was one of the most hated people in his season. And he came back onto this season, and he was still messy Ronnie until his ex came into the villa and he realized that he loved her. And then the redemption began. And it was like, it was crazy to see this new Ronnie just dote and love and do everything he could to win back his ex. I just thought the redemption arc for him was great. And he stood up for her when he needed to. He didn't really give a shit about anybody else in that villa apart from her. And it was like, that's nice to see. Because it's all kind of fake, right? It's all kind of silliness and fakeness. And I'm not saying it's fake as in the producers are telling them what to say. I believe they say whatever they want to say. But it's all sort of like, I believe a little bit that it's like, would they have half of these conversations in the real world? Or is the other producers being like, hey, we need content. Grace, can you go speak to Luca? And they're allowed to speak about what they want, but can you go do that now? Like, and then they've got to have these conversations. And again, that's fine. It's TV. I understand what it is. But with Ronnie, I kind of really did feel like he was like, I don't really care what the producers tell me. I'm going to do what I want to do. And what I want to do right now is win back my ex. And that's it. I don't give a shit about anybody else. And it was great to watch. And by the end, I really loved him. I thought him and his ex kind of deserved to win. They were just great TV to watch. The redemption arc. Who doesn't love a great redemption? So that's what I've got for Love Island All Stars. Bullshit TV, but I just love it. I just consume it. I love it. I speak about it with my housemate and my sisters, and yeah, it's just one of my guilty pleasures. Hey, am I allowed a guilty pleasure? Can I just have one guilty pleasure in this world? That's it. That's all I want. Love Island. So hopefully the next season will be good. But yeah, that's all we got time for today. I'm going to come back with another episode of Popcorn King on Monday, because I've got so many other reviews to do. There's so much to do, and I've got to talk about the Oscars. I'm going to do reactions to the SAG winners. So tune back in on Monday. But thank you so much for watching. I love you all with all my heart, and just never leave me alone.